you go to the store, wherever you go, you have wireless internet. Do you think Google can really make good on their promise? Because they're trying to bring this thing to South Asia. They're trying to bring this thing to Africa, where there's a lot of safari, a lot of right, and so you have internet literally wherever you are. I mean, is this the next step? Has Google once again shown us what the next step in certain technologies are?
Yeah, at least they're showing us what nobody else is doing.
Right.
What they're trying is, where's that? Cincinnati? Where's that place they're testing this right now?
They're testing in Kansas, in Austin, Texas, and Utah.
I don't know if it's the next step, because by the time they're done, someone else will come out with a new idea about how to make everywhere a hotspot.
Right.
It just makes sense, though.
Right.
You know our limitations when it comes to that.
Oh yeah.
And we need this to happen.
Oh yeah.
We're like, I'm sitting, I can't sleep at night waiting for this. So bring it on Google.
Oh yeah.
Do it. I'm down.
I mean, this thing to me, I mean, this is a major advancement. If they can pull this thing off, I mean, imagine no longer having to, whoever your Comcast or cable provider is, you got to get internet through them and wire it to your house, and then you can go wire it throughout your house. Once you drive out of the parking lot, it's done. Imagine having a whole city where your internet is everywhere. It's not just in your home, it's in your car. Now you're saying, well, I have that now with 3G. Yeah, but you have to pay separately for that. Imagine having internet, period. No extra 3G, 4G, none of that matters now. You have, because a lot of phones, they have Wi-Fi, but that's why they have 3G, because they use the cell service to hook onto the internet. That's what the 3G and 4G services are. They use your cell phone to hook onto the internet when you're not like in a Wi-Fi situation. But imagine that situation. I mean, because now phones, I mean, this would just affect everything. Phones would now last longer, because there would be no need to use 4G, because as everyone who has used 4G and 3G speeds, as everyone that knows, this thing eats battery. I'm not talking about a little bit of battery. This thing eats battery. And a matter of fact, man, I just went right up into that break. But we're gonna come right back quickly. We're gonna come right back quickly and talk more about this, man, because this thing was just so compelling. We just went right past the break. We went right past the break. So we're gonna go and come back quick. So just stay right there and keep thinking about Google. All right, we're back. Whew. I know you were like, man, this guy took a break. Yeah, I was so hyped about talking about this Google Fiber situation and this Google global hotspot that they're trying to create. That I mean, because that is, to me, is just something exciting. That's going to change what we think about when it comes to like cell phones. Your cell phone battery is not going to be hounded by those 4G speeds that just eat up your battery life. Now you have an eternal everywhere hotspot. I mean, if Google can really roll this thing out, if they can really do that, they would really become, because I already see Google as stepping up to the plate as being a leader in technology. Not just because they sell a lot of units of Android or anything like that, but they're constantly innovating and stuff like that. And especially one of the things I like about Google that I don't like about iOS is especially when you deal with apps, right? When you're dealing with apps, in order for Apple, for your apps to, how do you put it, upgrade. Like when your apps need a new upgrade, Apple has you have to go into the App Store. It'll give you a little icon over your app saying 1 or whatever it is, and you can go into the app store, and then you have to click update all, or something like that. You have to click that, and then it updates everything. With Google and their Android apps, it updates automatically. And there's reasons why you would want automatic updates of your apps, because you want to make sure that, security breaches and stuff like that. I don't want to always have to, because if I have 20 apps, 30 apps, hundreds of apps, I don't want to have to look through each one of them to see, oh, there's an update here, an update there. I want these things to just update automatically. And this is something that Google brings to the table that Apple doesn't. And so that's why I think that I'm not just saying that Google is a leader because they have these sorts of things, but because they constantly think of the little things. They constantly think of these things that we use, and then they put it into production or put it into action before, you know, it becomes general public. And so therefore they really lead the way. So I'm looking at Google right now as becoming a leader. They're a leader in the tech industry right now, and really an effective leader. And if they can come up with this, if they can do this thing, I'm telling you, man, this thing is going to be huge. So we're going to wait and see what happens with Google as far as their wireless internet plans. I mean, already they're showing that they can bring gigabit internet cheaply to the market. For $70 a month, you get gigabit. Now, for many of you who don't understand what that is, the average internet speed in the country, the average is 1.4 megabits per second. That's the average. You know, you can go to your cable company and get maybe 20 megabits or 30 megabits. You can get that, you know, high-speed internet, what they call it. But Google is offering, you know, 20 megabits, that's 20 million bits. That sounds like a lot, doesn't it? But when you say Google is giving you 1,000 megabits, now that's the difference between someone giving you $20 and someone giving you $1,000. You see what I'm saying? That's just no comparison. Someone give you 20 bucks, okay. But they roll out and give you a stack just like that. Oh, $1,000. You know, I know many of you, you know, you ain't from the streets like me, so you don't understand that terminology right there. So I just gotta, you know, I gotta break it down. But when someone can offer you 1,000 instead of 20, that's obviously much more. And that's what Google is doing with their internet speeds. They're giving us gigabit internet, which is much faster than the 1.4 megabits people are getting. So the $1.40 you're getting right now, Google is offering you $1,000. You know what I'm saying? That's the difference. So, I mean, Google is doing a lot of big things right now as far as internet is concerned, and I can't wait to see where they take this thing. Now, our next story has to deal with a company called UCheck. I mean, UCheck, now for many of you who don't know what UCheck is, because this is a thing that came out, we talked about it here on Tech Pulse probably, you know, maybe 2 months ago. This is an app that came out that allows the individual to test their urine anywhere, rather than having to go into a doctor's office or whatnot. This app allows you, the UCheck is an app that analyzes urine with a smartphone camera. They made it for iOS, and they were going to come out with an Android version of it, and they said this thing is able to detect up to 25 different diseases. So let me give you a little bit of information. Now, Mishkin Agarwal is a tech entrepreneur from India, and he developed a new app for the iPhone, well, with which a person can analyze his or her own urine without going to the doctor. The name of the new urine analysis app was UCheck, or is UCheck. And all the users need to do is dip a strip, you know, those urine strips that they give you, into the urine, and then use the color-coded map through their smartphone camera to analyze the health situation of any person. And according to Agarwal, he says everybody urinates and everybody carries a cell phone. So therefore, this is going to be an easy thing for people to do. Now, with the help of UCheck, people will be able to detect, according to him, nearly 25 diseases, which include urinary tract infections, kidney or liver issues, and diabetes. And according to Wired magazine, they said with color comparisons as a guide, the app analyzes the results and comes back in seconds with a breakdown of the levels of glucose, bilirubin, proteins, specific gravity, ketones, leukocytes, nitrates, hemoglobin, hematera, all these different things that's present in the urine. He says to the extent that its accuracy is concerned, Agarwal said that the app did better with the 1,200 samples that the human he had not he had collected, but that the tests had shown. They had been accurate with 1,200 samples, as accurate as being in a lab. And so this UCheck app, now for many of you who didn't know this thing existed, well, you can go to the iPhone store right now, not the iPhone store, the Apple's iStore right now, and you can get this app. You can get this app right now, download it for now. But here's where the controversy came in. I was just giving you a little history on UCheck, you know what I'm saying, where it came from and stuff like that. But here's where the story gets interesting, because now, in light of that, the FDA stepped in to Igawal, you know, and they said, look, man, you are basically turning the iPhone into a medical device. And so the FDA said that that this urine analysis app requires our approval. I mean, in what's a first for the Food and Drug Administration, that's the FDA, the agency they sent a letter to the makers of the iPhone medical app, Igawal and his crew, asking why they didn't seek approval before releasing this thing. They say the UCheck app analyzes photos of urine samples and gives the users quick health information. And the FDA told Igawal, and his company, by the way, is called Biosense. They told Biosense that it had 30 days to either show the agency that it had already received the FDA's blessing in releasing this thing, or explain why the app didn't need their approval in the first place. Now, you can get this thing right now at the Apple iStore. It's in there, and they promised a Android version of it. But to have a app that can accurately test your urine, now I don't know if this is something that you know, everybody is gonna want, or everyone is jumping down the line and saying, oh man, I gotta have this thing. But to have an app that's able to not only check your urine, but give you analysis on 25 different diseases. It's called the UCheck app in the Apple iStore. To download this thing, and it's able to give you accurate health checks and stuff like that. I mean, that thing is, to me, that's pretty amazing right there. I mean, that shows you again where technology is going. Now, Igawal and Biosense are saying this doesn't mean that you don't go to your doctor and clinics and different things like that, but it gives you something that you can bring to them. In other words, you can say, I think I have a urinary tract infection because I've tested my urine, and according to this is the charts and so forth. Or you can say, I think there's something wrong. I mean, imagine going to a doctor and already having information to give them so they can narrow down the test. I mean, this is something that I believe is going to help even insurance companies, because people, they go to the doctors for everything these days. They hit their big toe and they're in the doctor's office sitting up. Oh man, I hit my toe. You know what I'm saying? Is it broken? It's like, well, does it feel broken? No, so go home. But right away, they cost insurance companies millions by just walking through the door with that type of nonsense. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the doctor will tell them, they'll go, oh doctor, my shoulder is hurting. It hurts when I do this. And the doctor says, well, then don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Now go home. You know, but these people, they walk into the doctor's office for every hangnail, you know, that's in the world. And insurance companies, that's why premiums in insurance companies are so high, because they're saying, look, you're walking into the doctor's office like you're drinking water. You know, this thing costs money, because doctor's visits cost hundreds these days. Gone are the days where you just paid $50 and that was it. You may pay $50 in a copay, but the actual bill is more than that. You know what I'm saying? It could be up $100, $300 for an office visit. You don't pay that. Your insurance pays the balance of it. And so that's why insurance companies are like, man, people are just going to the doctor too frequently. You know? But an app like this, UCheck, that puts the power in your hand to know when you have something wrong with you, to say, man, I think I have a urinary tract infection. You go to the doctor, because now you know you have something serious, because you have something to go by, and you can go in there and they can say, okay, yes, I'll run the appropriate test. Rather than just running every test, they can run something specific to kind of see, because even those tests cost money. You know what I mean? You don't think they just run tests and that's just free. Those things cost money, and so someone got to pay. So an app like this, I think, is very good, and that's probably why the FDA came in and said, look, man, you need our approval for something like this, because they see the potential of an app like this. They see the potential, and the guy who released this thing